Welcome to the week 12, module 12 of our project management professional training program. So in this week and in this module, we are going to be looking into yet another very important knowledge area in project management, and that is the project procurement management. Project procurement management. Now this is very interesting because without this knowledge area, you're not going to have the inputs, the resources, the materials that you require for your projects. That's why this is a very key area in your project management endeavors. All right, so we're going to be looking into the details of this particular knowledge area, and without further ado, let's jump right in. So firstly, an overview of what this knowledge area is all about. Now, project procurement management involves acquiring goods and services from external sources to meet project requirements. Now, first and foremost, when you're about to get started with a project, you have what you call project requirements. You should know that by now. The project objectives, all right? And those requirements or objectives have specifications, okay? But then it requires, for you to get started with the project, you have to understand what are the tools, what are the materials that you require, all right? What are the inputs that you require for this project in terms of human resources, in terms of material resources, in terms of equipment, all right? Tools that you require, okay? Let's say, for example, you're into a construction project, okay? You need different materials. You need sand, you need cement, all right? You're gonna need blocks, you're gonna need wood, you're gonna need, plumbing. You're gonna need different materials, different items, okay? And apart from the physical material, you're also going to need services from laborers, workers, all right? So when we're talking about procurement management, we are looking at what are the processes that are involved in the acquisition of those materials that are required to carry on our project. Do you understand that now? All right, so it's the process of buying, all right, getting those materials from outside of the project team or outside of the project organization. Okay, so anything that has to do with procurement management has to do with how do we get what we need for this project from outside of the project team. All right, so it's not within the team. Okay. So it encompasses the processes required to purchase or acquire products, services, or results needed from outside the project team. So here again, you see that. So what are those processes? Okay, that's what we're going to be looking at in project procurement management. The processes involved in the purchase or the acquisition of all the materials that we require for our project from outside of the project team. Okay, so in this week we'll explore the fundamental aspects of procurement management, understanding how to efficiently and effectively manage external resources for project success. So as a project manager, you have to understand the intricacies, you have to understand the processes, you have to understand the techniques, all right, the methodology that's involved in this procurement processes. Okay, so let's move on. Now, what are the objectives of project procurement management? Firstly, it will help us to understand the key concepts of project procurement management. So there are concepts, like I have said, So as a project manager, you must understand these concepts in order to be able to utilize them, all right, to achieve your results. You're going to learn the processes involved in acquiring external resources. So to bring in external resources from outside of the project team, there are processes involved. What are those processes? All right, so that's what you're going to be learning in this model. Also, we'll be exploring the strategies for effective vendor management. Vendors are the people from whom you are going to be purchasing the materials that you require, the goods, the services. All right, so those are vendors. You're going to need to manage them effectively in order to be able to work with them throughout your project life cycle. All right, so in addition, you're going to identify potential risks and challenges in procurement processes. So when it comes to procurement, when it comes to purchasing goods and services, all right, for whatever project at all, in whatever circumstances, there are risks involved. Even when you go to the market to buy something, there are risks. Okay, the thing you bought, if you're not careful, it could be substandard. All right, if you're not careful, you could meet with the wrong vendor and they give you wrong specifications, and at the end of the day you are not able to utilize the product. Okay, so there are risks involved. Those are risks. Now, as a project manager in your project management activities, you also have to understand these risks, okay, when you're purchasing materials for your project. So what are these risks and how do you mitigate them? How do you overcome them? What exactly do you do, okay, when you're faced with such circumstances? All right, so lastly, you're going to comprehend the importance of integrating procurement with the overall project management. Okay, so it's one thing to have your project, all right, and you're executing your project, but is another thing to bring in the goods and services that you require for the project. So integrating both aspects of your work, okay, integrating both aspects is very, very technical. So it involves you having certain competencies, all right, and you're going to have to learn to be able to integrate both aspects to have a smooth flow of work throughout your project life cycle. All right, so let's move on. Now, why is procurement management crucial? Why is project procurement management crucial? Why is it crucial to our project success? Why do you require project procurement management as a project manager? Why do you need to learn these techniques? Why do you need to understand the concepts, know the methodologies and how to apply them to your project? Okay, now efficient procurement management is crucial for project success because it allows organizations to, number one, access specialized skills and resources. All right, now projects vary. We have different kinds of projects across different sectors and industries. So each project is going to require different types of skills and resources. Okay, so one of the things procurement management will help you do is that it will help you to access specialized skills that are going to be in tune and in line with your project requirements. Okay, number two, procurement management is going to also help us control costs and optimize budgets. All right, so you're going to know what goods that you require, what services, what materials, what products you require. All right, so you're definitely going to be able to do your market analysis. Okay, that's part of the project procurement management. And then you're going to do your vendor survey. all right, so that you can get to know the different vendors that are offering such products or services, and be able to know the one that is most cost effective, all right, the one that will be able to deliver at the end of the day. Okay, so this is going to help you optimize your budget. When you already have a budget set for your project, it will help you manage and optimize the budget, so that at the end of the day you have the best in terms of the product or service that you require, all right, and you are working within the scope of your project's budget. Okay, number 3, it will help us to mitigate risks by transferring them to the vendors, right? So when you do proper project procurement management, you are not the one bearing the risks. Like I mentioned before, there are risks when it comes to procurement, all right? There are risks. So procurement management will help you to understand the risks, okay, understand those ones that are significant, okay, and then you will now set processes in place whereby you can transfer those risks to the vendors, not to you as a project manager or to your project team. Okay, and that's very important. And number 4, it will ensure compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. So there are legal requirements as far as your industry is concerned. There are regulatory requirements, all right, from government agencies, from labor agencies, from institutions. So procurement management will help you understand these requirements and be able to comply with them, so that you don't put your project and yourself and your project team at a disadvantage from regulatory authorities. Okay, so it will also help you foster collaboration and build strategic partnership, right? Partnership with stakeholders, partnership with vendors, all right, and the different people who are going to be involved in the procurement processes. Okay, so understanding procurement management will help to foster those collaborations, all right? Now let's look at the key concepts in project procurement management. Firstly, we have request for proposal, or what we call RFP. Now, an RFP is a formal document that outlines the detailed requirements, specifications, and expectations of a project, inviting potential vendors to submit proposals for the procurement of goods or services. All right, so this is a document, a formal document, right? It outlines all the details for the project requirements. What are the objectives of this project? All right, the broad objectives, specific objectives, all right, and what are the specifications of those objectives? What are the expectations, all right, of the project? And then when it details those, the project manager or the project team can now begin to identify potential vendors that can deliver on these requirements, specifications, and expectations. All right, so you can identify those vendors and get them to begin to submit proposals, all right, for the procurement of those goods and services that they offer, that are in line with the requirements, the specifications, and the expectations of your projects. Okay, now this RFP also serves as a crucial communication tool between the project team and prospective suppliers, facilitating a transparent and competitive bidding process. All right, so the vendors are a very vital part of your stakeholders, all right, and to be able to manage them, you're going to require effective communication, right? So this document is going to serve as a crucial tool for communication, all right, between the project team, okay, and then it will also help to facilitate a transparent and competitive bidding process, because you have all the details outlined in black and white. Okay, all the details outlined, so there is no oversight. All right, so next we have the request for quotation, or RFQ. Now, the RFQ is a document used to solicit quotes or bids from potential suppliers for specific goods or services. All right, now you've detailed out the requirements, the specifications, as well as the expectations of the project. You've identified potential vendors. All right, so now you're going to begin to request for the quotation. All right, this simply means the bids. What are the requirements? What are the costs, the prices for the specific products or goods or services that they are going to be supplying or bringing into the project team? Now, the RFQ typically includes details such as products, specifications, quantities, delivery requirements, and pricing. So you're going to spell out all those details within the requests for quotation. So this one is going to actually be handled by the supplier or the vendor, not the project manager or the project team. All right. So your own, the part or the role of the project manager is to send the requests. All right, to send the request, the document requesting that the vendor or the supplier sends this information. All right, product specification, quantities, delivery requirements, and pricing. You're requesting them to send this information to the project team or the project organization. All right. Now, the RFQs are commonly employed for straightforward procurement needs, providing a straightforward way to compare quotes from different vendors. Okay, so after you must have identified the vendors, and then you get them involved. All right, bring it to their awareness that this kind of project is going on, and you have some requirements. Okay, so you send requests for quotations to all of the vendors, and then they're going to start bringing in their quotations, all right, based on the project requirements, the specifications, as well as the expectations. All right, so this will now help you be able to compare different quotes from the various vendors. All right, and now you can now compare the specifications of the products that they'll be bringing in or they'll be supplying. All right, the requirements. So you can now look at that delivery requirements, the processes involved. All right, which one has the easiest requirements? All right, and as well as the pricing as well, which one has the least price? All right. Not only the list price, but also the best requirements, and as well as the best quality as well. So you're not just looking at the price, you're also looking at the quality. Do you understand? So everything combined, this will now help you be able to compare the different vendors to know which one to work with at the end of the day. All right, moving on. Now, number 3 is the source selection criteria. This is another important concept as far as project procurement management is concerned. Now, it involves predetermined criteria and factors used to evaluate and select potential suppliers during the procurement processes. All right, so how do you now select the vendors? All right, you use the source selection criteria, and this varies from project organization to project organization. All right, so you have to understand what are the source selection criteria for your own organization, and that will also be determined by the type of organizational structure, all right, and processes that have been established within the organization. Okay, so this criteria may include costs, technical expertise, past performance, and compliance with project requirements. All right, so of course, when you're going to be selecting a vendor, these are the things you'll be considering. What is the cost? The cost of the product, all right, the cost of the service, and what is the technical expertise of the vendor or the supplier? How knowledgeable are they? How competent are they in handling this work or this particular activity, all right, or in this particular supply? All right, past performance, you're going to look at what they have done in the past, which organization they have worked with, which projects they have supplied for, all right, how did they perform. You could even, you know, maybe get contacts from those organizations. You could require them to give you contacts of people or the organizations they've worked with, and then you should be able to maybe contact them to get information, all right, or just ask them to give you documentation, all right. And then also compliance with project requirements. How have they been able to comply with project requirements in the past, right? So these are the factors that you're going to be considering when you are selecting a supplier or a vendor for your procurement. Okay, a well-defined set of source selection criteria ensures an objective and systematic approach to supplier selection. So you don't want to joke with this, all right, and you don't want to allow halo effect interfere with your selection processes. By halo effect, I mean you don't want to involve favoritism. Okay, I know this person, or someone in the project team knows this person, all right. That's nice. Maybe based on past relationship or dealings in the past. Okay, someone can say, well, I've been involved with this person, I know that the person can deliver. Yes, that's fine, but then you still have to be objective. You still have to go through the processes, look at the records, okay, before you can make a final decision in terms of who to work with, not just based on past relationships. Okay, now this one is very important. Contract types, all right, fixed price, cost reimbursement. We have different types of contracts that you could use, all right, in procurement management, but these are the two most common contract types. So let's look into them. Different projects may require different contract types based on the nature of the work and the level of uncertainty involved. Now, fixed price contracts establish a set price for the goods or services, providing cost predictability. All right, so when we talk about fixed price contracts, you establish a set price for the goods. Okay, so the different goods may have different prices at different times. All right, but with this kind of contract, it makes it easier, so you don't have issues. You just set a particular price for the goods throughout the product or the project life cycle. All right, you just set a particular price, you establish a particular price that you're going to be working with throughout the project life cycle. So the fixed price contract establishes a set price for the goods or services, providing cost predictability. So with this, you just have a set price established for the goods or the service or the products that they are going to be supplying to you throughout the product life cycle. All right, not okay, today the goods they're supplying have a particular price. Tomorrow come and say, okay, well, it's a different price now. Okay, so this contract helps you to be able to optimize your budgets, control your costs. All right. Now, cost reimbursement contracts, on the other hand, allow for the reimbursement of the supplier costs, often with additional fees. Now, in this type of contract, when there is a difference in price or a change in price or an additional expenditure on the part of the supplier, the project manager, the project team, or the project organization is responsible for reimbursing the supplier, okay, those costs. Maybe they already have an established agreement about a particular cost for a product or service, or what needs to be spent. At the end of the day, if it goes more than that, maybe price increases or there are additional expenses in the course of the supply processes, then the project manager is meant to reimburse the vendor or the supplier those additional fees or those additional costs. All right, that's why we call it cost reimbursement contract. Now, like I said, we have different types of contracts, all right, that you can select from. All right, but understanding these contract types is essential for selecting the most suitable arrangement for a given project. Okay, now let's move on. Procurement documents. Now, these are the various documents generated during the procurement process to define the requirements, solicit bids, and establish agreements with vendors. All right, so it's a whole lot of process or processes that are involved in procurement management. So you're going to be generating a lot of documents. All right, and these documents will be serving different purposes. All right, whether it's for the requirement to define the project requirements, all right, or even the objective specifications, to solicit bids, or to establish agreements, all right, memorandum of agreements and all that. So we have different types of documents which you're going to be generating. Okay, but examples include the RFP, request for proposal, the RFQ, request for quotation, contracts, and of course other supporting documentation. Quite a whole lot of them. Invoice, receipts, different types. Now, these documents serve as a legal and operational foundation for the procurement relationship, outlining expectations, responsibilities, and deliverables. So you don't want to have issues or problems in terms of agreements. Okay, so you want everything documented. When it comes to procurement, as a seasoned project manager, you don't want to work with word of mouth, all right, or what we call gentleman agreement, handshake agreement. You want to have everything documented. All right, if you're going to have an agreement, let it be documented. Let it be part of your procurement documents, and have everything in a folder. All right, have your document in a folder and ensure that the folder is well labeled for this particular project. Okay, so you have everything in a document, right? And then get all your documents or your documentation in a particular folder and have the folder well labeled, okay, for reference purposes. And of course, these documents will now serve as the organizational process assets for referencing for future similar projects. Okay. Alright, now let's look at the processes that are involved in project procurement management. Now first is the plan procurement management. Okay, next we have the conduct procurement, and then last but not the least we have control procurement. So these are the major processes that are involved in the project procurement management. And for the rest of this module, we're going to be looking at these three processes in details. All right, look at the overview, the objectives, what they entail, look at the inputs, the tools and techniques, as well as the outputs for the various processes involved in the project procurement management. Okay, so that will be from the next class, in the next video. So stay tuned. I'll see you soon. Cheers.